Good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is the weekend workout where we invite you to play with your strength. Body weight, strength, and stretch movements for fun, for fitness, and for connectedness. So here we are together, to you at home. We'll start with Lauren's head and neck warm-up, and then I'll take over with the feet. Get away there.
Excellent.
Head mistress.
And just a reminder that you don't need anything for this workout, just a little bit of space. So in your space, standing up tall, let's gently tuck our chin towards our chest. With that light chin tuck, we'll take that chin and scrape it along a clavicle or a collarbone towards your armpit. Once it's over there, looking up that far wall, nose tracing up, across the top of the ceiling to center, and then in center, pull that chin back down and repeat in the opposite direction. Chin towards chest, scraping along a collarbone. Nose goes up the wall, across the top of the ceiling, and pulls down in center, growing tall. We'll repeat opposite direction. So from here, we'll look up first. Let's keep those shoulder blades retracted and that upper body stationary as the nose goes across the ceiling, down the wall this time towards the armpit, across the collarbone to center, and then in center, growing up. And one last time, up, across the ceiling, down the wall, and then returning to center, and head grows on straight. Bobble it out.
From there, we'll get from the tip of the head to the tips of those toes. Stand with your feet in parallel. Light effort, pull that heel up. Is it sickled? Find that inside shape. Then as allowed, could we transfer the weight towards the toe tip? Again, is it sickled or pulling to center? Now keep the toe on the ground, but imagine pulling up. Pull the leg up off the floor or that femur bone into the hip, and we hope that that feels compression on this elevated leg and tension or rootedness on the standing. Then go back to the ball of the foot and push the hip forward to return the heel to the floor. Same thing on the other side. Demi point or lunging foot. Is it winging out? Pull it in towards the center. Then toe point. Is it out? Find that center. And while keeping contact with the floor the whole time, imagine pulling this leg up or into that hip, cramp the standing leg butt cheek, and then go back to that ball of foot and keep pushing those hips forward to return the knee to the floor. One more time. Ball of foot, trace center to the toe point. Stay at that toe point and pull that femur bone into the hip. Can you feel that tension build on the other leg? Then toe ball, heel connects as we push the hip through. Other side, same thing, we pull. We might point, pull the leg up off the floor, but keep the contact there. Feel that tension build in those hips and gently go toe ball, heel to the floor and continue to push those hips through. One more thing here, let's just get those knees over toes. It'll link into that next move nicely. So knees over toes, push the hips through. Two more of those, knees over toes, and maybe find that nice center position for hips and then push through. And last one, knees over toes, hip extend through, and then shake it out. Bobble heads up top and loosey-goosey feet down low.
From the head to the rib cage, standing your feet slightly wider than your hips, let's take our arms out to the side. From here, we're going to keep our arms parallel with the floor and slide our rib cage from side to side. As we go here, noticing those shoulders don't dip or twist, so we're sliding between two panes of glass and keeping parallel with the floor. Last one or so. Actually, let's do two more because it feels so good. And then back to center. For this one, I like to pull my arms in. So we slid our cage laterally. Now we're going to think about sliding it forward and back. Squeeze your cheeks, keep your core braced. Take your cage and slide it forward. Then from there, it's going to slide back over your hips to stacked and lightly try to reach it behind you. As you go back behind you, keep those blades pinched together. Repeat again, sliding that cage forward and then taking it back through center and sliding it back. Now let's bring it on top. Let's link those movements making a circle. Slide to your left or right. Then from there, continue drawing that circle forward, all the way around the front of the circle to that new corner, and then reaching to the back corner, across the back wall to where you started, and then pull back to center. Let's repeat in the opposite direction. Slide the other way. Forward, around the front of that circle, reaching, staying tall, thinking about staying the same height the whole time and keeping those shoulders level. That back corner, around the back blades are together, to the new or to the original side, and then zip, pull on. Now you can bust those out at your next dance party.
Ooh, the dance party doesn't stop here at the top. It also can happen down at those feet. So stand with those feet in parallel from here. Let's find a little rise first. Press down, grow tall, squeeze your butt cheeks, wear that rib cage right over top of those hips, and slowly return to the floor. Repeat. Find those toe tips. This time, could you transfer your weight, drag a foot across the floor, and try to hold a single leg balance? Maybe, maybe not. Then find those two toe tips. Transfer your weight to the other side, same thing. Maybe use a chair at your side. Build that tension and strength on that foot. Return to two tips and return to the floor with control. Learning how to roll with those ebbs and flows will help maintain your balance throughout. From here, we'll go knees over toes, then lift up those heels and nice and casually get down towards our sides of sit, knees to the floor, extend those hips through, and working on some wrists.
All right, let's warm up our wrists. So extending your arms out front, pull your shoulder blades back in retraction and down. Now we're going to approach the floor with straight elbows. So straighten them, look at them, keep them straight. Hinge on the hips. First 4 fingertips, well 8 total, fingertips find the floor. With straight elbows, roll from the pinky to the index and the pinky to the index. Now keeping those elbows straight, the full fingers are going to come down to the floor. As we do that, maybe you drift forward over top of those fingers and then push them into the floor to get you back. One last time, a little bit forward and press back. And now this time, keeping the elbows straight, the palms will come down to the floor. With those fingers gripping and your palms down, shoulders packed, let's unrotate our arms, meaning the elbow pit is going to go from facing forward to facing backwards. Doing that a couple times. Rotate the pit forward and then backwards and forward, keeping those shoulder blades stationary and backwards. And last time, let's end with them forward. Now, we'll gently drift our our shoulders towards over top of our fingertips and use your fingers to press yourself back. One more time into that wrist extension, pull on the floor, drifting forward. This time, we'll press ourselves back, flicking the floor away and shaking that out. Let's do the opposite of that motion. So now, with fists out front, shoulders packed and retracted, hinge on the hips, find the knuckles. Keep a shoulder down, an elbow straight, and roll over the back of the hand. So the back of the hand finds the floor, but the shoulder remains down and the elbow pit again tries to rotate forward. Push into the floor to get back up to your fist knuckles. Repeat on the other side. Rolling over the back of the hand, keeping the shoulder packed, the elbow straight, and then press back up to fist knuckles. One more time on each side, rolling over, shoulder stays down, and press back up. And last one on this left side, rolling over the back of the hand, and then pressing back up. And from here, we'll just push into the floor and extend to tall. And now it's time to
Get back up. But first, can we sit on those feet in the back? Point those toes, butt cheeks towards feet in the back here. And could you squeeze your right butt cheek? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Then squeeze your left butt cheek. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Maybe your eye twitches at the same time. Then squeeze both butt cheeks. Extend those hips to tall. Then tuck the toes underneath. With or without those hands, let's find our toe balance here. Stand on those toes. Drive those hips through. Hold for a second. And then return the heels to the ground. One more time as we return to the floor. We'll go knees over toes, Then lift up those heels next. Toe squat down. Hands or no hands, knees land together. Extend those hips through. Then point the toes and sit back. From here, let's just find a little mermaid sits here, and we'll come back to some of our rolls and lunges. Mermaid sit.
Yeah.
Parallel leg across the front, sitting nice and tall. Push the back hip forward, pulling that front leg in, sitting up nice and tall. That might be crampy on these lateral butts. We might need that outrigger to help keep the rib cage stacked over top of the hips. We'll come back to this posture throughout today's practice, do some stretches, do some strengths, and we'll come back here and check in. Until then, switch. No rules. Switch to the other side. Nice and easy. That's a tough move for me. But from here, point the foot like a ballet foot. Use that outrigger. This back hip, squeeze your butt cheek. Push it forward. Front leg, pull it in, compressing femur in the hip. With the outrigger or without, test that balance for 5 more seconds. Breathe. Check in. And then it's time to roll around, Lauren.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
How we rolling today?
We're going to lie on our back. We'll start with our log rolls, and then we'll progress from there. So lying on your back. Give the floor a little bit of attention there. Excellent. Legs are out straight. Arms are in your T shape. We're going to roll with our upper body first, so our lower body is sleeping. Take a single arm. Let's all do the same arm. Take your left arm. Your left arm is going to pass by your hip, grazing your hip with your hand, and then it's going to start reaching across your body. As it reaches, your head is going to lift, your shoulders are going to lift, and you're going to roll yourself onto your stomach with only your upper body power. Let's take the same arm and go back to where we came from. So this time, left arm sweeps by the hip. It rotates open. We start looking with our head, shoulders. Roll to your backside. Repeat with the right. Arm comes down across the hip. Starts reaching. As it reaches the shoulder, the head leaves the floor. And it pulls you over to your front side. One more time with that right arm as it sweeps down by the hip. Reaches, you're looking up towards the ceiling as you roll to your back. Okay, now upper body goes to sleep, lower body's awake. Starting with those arms back to that T shape, we'll bring our left knee in. It'll be bent. Then you're going to straighten it out. It's going to slowly start falling over. As it falls, your arms will sweep toward the hip, and you'll end up on your stomach. To your back, you're going to bend that same left knee. Reach it up to the sky. Start reaching that leg over. Head looks, shoulders roll, arms try not to push on the floor. One more time with the right leg. Knee comes in. It straightens. It starts to pull you over. Head, shoulders. Oops, I forgot to sweep my arm. Sweep. Last time, right leg reaches to the ceiling, reaches over. Arm will sweep that hip as you come across to your back and end up finishing on your back. Nice.
From here, it's the lunge. So somehow from that backside, take your time and establish yourself in your lunging position. A back roll, a plow style, into that lunge.
It was super graceful.
With a little bit of grace and a lot of fun. Let's tuck under that back hip. Is your toe like Lauren's in the back there in that lunging style foot, or is it pointed? Either is appropriate. The toe like Lauren has is probably harder. Excuse me. Tuck under that back leg, and with the front leg, could you get towards that demi point? Then, for about 5 repetitions in a row, could you find the toe point? 1, control down. 2, control down. This back hip is tucked under as we try to find that nice demi point to point in the front. Maybe last 1 or 2. And then this is the ultimate challenge here. Could you go from that toe point, drag it across the floor, stay nice and tight here like you're on a bicycle, and bring that leg underneath. Same thing, other side. Bring it through. Tuck under that back leg and compress that femur in the hip on the front. It's that scissor action. From there, that demi point, and finish with the toes. Ball of foot to toes. Ball of foot to toes. We have 2 or 3 more. Is that back hip still tucked under? This is challenging for my balance, and I see Lauren's periphery, out of my periphery, a little bit challenged as well. So let's go one more time to that toe point. It's the other hip. It's this hip here that requires that space or promotes that space to bring the leg underneath. From this position, I think Lauren has something else planned for us.
More rolls. This time, we're gonna roll forward. So from your knees, you'll place your hands on the floor wider than your shoulders. Now, taking a single arm, let's take that arm and reach it to our side, palm up. Your head is going to sniff well, you don't have to sniff. Your chin is going to go to the opposite armpit. Gently tuck that chin towards the armpit, reaching the back of the shoulder blade towards the floor of that arm that's turned up. Feel your weight push onto that blade, not your head, neck, but the back of the shoulder, and then come back up and reset that arm to the floor. Repeat on the other side. Arm turns up, chin goes to the armpit of the arm that's still touching the floor, or the bent arm. And then gently think about rolling on that shoulder, come back up, repeat again. Either continue practicing that. As we roll, we want to think we're not rolling on our head, neck, we're trying to roll on the back of that shoulder. So tuck the chin, pushing into the floor so that shoulder finds place, maybe getting the hips towards overhead and finding your first roll. Turning around and going back on the other side. That's the hardest part, remembering which side you just did. Palm turns up, chin tucks. You're going to have one side that feels a little easier than the other likely. Push the weight towards over the head and then articulate the spine. Nice and soft landing. One more time each side.
That sounds fun and good to me.
See how you land out of this. Could you land in your low squat? Using or not using your hands. As you come through, could you end up either with your butt on the floor in your low squat or progressing towards bum off the floor? Last one here. See, I told you it's the hardest part, remembering which way you just rolled. Last one.
Love it. We've rolled, we've balanced, and also in today's practice, we'll crawl. Let's start on the ground. So transition from that squat position as Lauren is in towards our 6-point crawling position here. As we crawl, right now, think pushing the hand through the floor, flicking on the wrist. Flick and flick. Use that hand to drive the action in the shoulder rather than McStomps, as Lauren might say sometimes. Feel that nice articulation through the hand. From here, let's tip the tailbone to the ceiling. Then let's lift the buttocks and hips to the ceiling next. Is your spine still long? Take a step with your right hand and left foot, flick through the wrist and land. Then left hand, right foot, flick through the wrist and land. Continue to walk in this elephant crawl, promoting stiff elbows throughout, but they will bend, but bend them after you initiate that action through the hand. We'll take a couple more strides forward here. Breathe, lengthen out that tailbone, push through the floor on the hands, and then let's reverse. So push the floor forward, then land fingertip, callus hand, push, fingertip, callus hand, push. That flow through the hand here aims to share that load, articulate through, and help us progress into the handstand eventually. From here, let's fold up. So walk your heart back towards those knees. Try to get those legs nice and straight. And then starting at the bottom, pull the core in tight and stack those vertebrae one at a time, imagining and practicing that articulation all the way between those spine segments. And shake it out. We're up top. Let's continue to work on some legs, like some squats, some stretch. What do you got, Lauren?
Excellent. Let's continue on the theme of the animal and do a little bit of a duck walk here. So, giving yourself a little bit of room in front of you, bend your knees towards over your toes, and then start sinking into a lowish position, keeping your spine nice and extended. From here, just like we peeled our hands off the floor, could you peel a heel and then a toe, and a heel and a toe? As you walk around like this duck, maybe even going backwards Don't know if ducks do that, but try. Toe ball heel if you're going backwards. Try to stay the same height here. Once you're back to where you started, press to tall. Whew, shake it out.
Quads on that one. Shake it out, sneeze it out. Let's return to the floor and work on our next crawling shape, being the crow. Come on down, and can we utilize that squats position to get low? Then go hands to the floor. Maybe look at this first and then follow along with Lauren. And from here, we'll get knees towards elbows or high on those triceps. Transfer your weight. Test a single leg. Then another one.
Ooh.
And then maybe together. Hold for 5, 4, 3. And then we and you will rest in that squats position and check out Lauren as she does the same. Fingertips are super open. It's that slow weight transfer forward. Hold a position for, again, a solid 5 seconds here today. And then control that dismount. Let's stand up together all the way to the top. Add a little shake and reset. Let's practice that one more time.
Let's.
Pull ourselves down. Fingertips, calluses, and hands. From there, transfer the knees towards high on those triceps. Then hug in tight, transfer your weight, and practice your crow balance here. We can again work on some weight transfer. Pull and push that action through the hand. This family of movements are hand balances, so don't forget about those hands. Then let's get towards that squat, and again, to the tall position.
Okay.
And shake it out. How are those wrists? Check in on the big muscle groups like those hips and the core, and also those small ones like the wrists and the feet.
I'm going to grab my chair here for a little bit of a balance aid. So whether it's a countertop, a chair, a wall, doesn't need to be fancy. Have something close by. Pull a leg up into the low position so your foot is touching that ankle bone. You're going to gently press a knee towards over a floor, over a toe. Then you're going to press into the floor to extend that hip. And now let's drive to press down to find a balance on a single leg. As you're up here, keep that cheek squeeze, the core brace. Maybe the hand leaves the chair for a second. And then with the knee straight, slowly descend, heel to the floor. Repeat, knee over toe. Extend the hip forward. With a straight leg, push down to find a rise. Hold, control down. One last time, knee over toe. Hip extends, nice straight knee. Push into the floor to grow up. Hold, control the down. Shake it out. Repeat on the other side. Find that low position at the ankle first. Then the knee towards over the toe. The hip extends, nice straight knee. Keeping the hips level, push into the floor, pressing down to grow up and hold. Control the down. Repeat, knee over toe. Press through to tall. Grow up, knee stays nice and straight. Control the down. Last one, knee over toe. Press, extending that hip. Drive into the floor, growing up. Knee stays straight, hold the balance, and then control down. Shake it out.
Shook. Let's return to the floor. Open up those hips yet again in our lizard position or crawl. We can hinge, we can fold, get down to the floor any way that you know is safe, and then establish your planks position. For our planks, the hips are tucked under, the legs step back, and the shoulders stay stacked over top of those hands. From here, kick a bum with one leg, and then place it near the hand on the same side. Lightly at first, but push your knee towards the front and the heel of the back leg to the back. That could be exciting on the hips. Then slowly pull in, so you're compressing that femur in and pushing that back foot into the floor. Then lightly kick your bum with that front leg, establish your plank position. Then kick a bum on the other leg and return it to the hand. Lightly at first, but push energy out of this knee forward and the back heel to the back. Scissor those hips in next as you pull the knee in the front in and push the back hip forward. Then kick a bum, return. One more time each side, bum kick, foot down, push the knee forward, then heel energy driving out the back. Kick a bum, pull in, return to the plank, and the final time here, bum kick. Toe ball heel on the landing if you can, and the knee shooting forward, heel back, then slowly switch and pull to center, then pull back the leg, and personalize your up. Either your down dog hinge, your down dog to fold. Check it out. Stack those vertebrae with strength and control. And we're all the way back up here.
All the way up.
And we'll shake it out.
Back to a leg, right?
Back to those legs.
I suggest you grab
that balance aid. Sounds good.
All right, with that at your side, set up the same way we did the last time. Low position ankle. Knee is going to go over the toe again. This time, keeping those hips level, ceiling on your head. Try to find a rise on a bent leg. Hold for 3, 2. Then we're going to push up out of it to find a straight leg and slowly lower. Repeat again. Knee towards over toe. Stay the same height as you find that rise. Then press into the floor to grow tall. Hold. Knee stays straight on the down. One more. Knee over toe. Find a balance rise. Hold. Push down to grow up. Hold. And slow descent. Excellent. Shake it out. We'll switch sides.
That one's a tough one, Lauren.
I know. Don't be afraid to use your balance aid and just lightly. Low position. Knee over toe. Find that rise, stay in the same height. Then push down to grow up. Hold. Own the balance. Control the down. Repeat. Knee over toe. Find a light rise. Press down to go up. Holding. Slowly descend. One last time. Knee over toe. Find the rise. Press down to go up. Holding. Oops. And then slow down. Oh, tricky.
And don't forget those shakes and those wiggles to break up some of that tension. High tension to enjoy that relaxation. Returning to the floor any way that you can, maybe it's a squat. We'll be in our crab's position next. So, anyhow that you got, let's pull ourselves down. If you are in that squat, take a single hand behind, then the other hand behind, and then adjust as you need so that your feet can be out front with bent knees, as Lauren's showing, with your bum on the floor. Slouch just a little bit and shrug those shoulders. Then press the hands into the floor, which pushes that sternum or heart forward. From here, pull the femur heads in as to tip your tailbone towards cow, or that anterior tip. I hope that feels compression and hip flexor strength in the front. Then tuck under as if to transition to your cat, just so that your bum hovers on the ground. Are you still pressing in the floor through those shoulders? Then at the hips, pull those femur heads in to tip your tailbone back. Hip flexors, compress in those hips. From here, we'll tuck under. You might need to move your feet a little bit, and from here, extend those hips to a safe high bridge for you. Cramp your glutes and drive by pulling those femur heads in as you return the hips towards the floor. Pull the legs into the hip sockets, tipping the tailbone back like a cow. From there, tuck under, bridge, squeeze your bum, high bridge or crab's position here. Stiffen those elbows, hold for 1 second, and then to descend, pull the femur heads in, initiating the down phase with that tip of the hips to the back. My triceps are burning. How about yours? Let's do that one more time as we tuck under, recruiting those glutes to extend the hips. Hold that tabletop or crab's position here for a second longer. Then tip the tailbone to the back by pulling those femur heads in and return to our tall sit. And then let that off with our little shakes. We have a little bit of splits work coming up here. Lauren, what position should we start with?
We should start with the splits.
The splits?
Yeah.
Let's do it then.
Yeah. So sitting up tall on the floor, let's extend to your safe split position. Start easy. Haven't done this in a little bit. As we're sitting up tall here, let's point our toes or flex our feet. Pick one, don't be halfway in between. Let's revisit what we did earlier today with our rib cage. So as we're sitting up tall, that light grip on the floor, and could you slide your cage side to side again? Chest is staying about the same height as you do this, and then return to center. Same idea, but forward back again. So heart extends, pressing forward. And then as you slide back, try to keep those blades together so we're not just rounding that back. Repeat. Chest, heart slides forward. Cage slides back. Good. Let's end in that lightly extended position. Could you open the leg a little bit more? And the other leg a little bit more. And then, with that nice extended spine and that light tailbone tip to the ceiling, start walking yourself towards forward. Again, let's keep those shoulders retracted so that we're not just rounding and pretending, but extending, reaching forward. Take a breath. Try to find a little bit more space. While you're here, could you rotate those inseams up towards the ceiling? Find a little external rotation in those legs. And then relax that, and maybe that gives you a little more room to walk forward. Repeat one more time. Try to rotate those legs open in the socket. And then relax, and maybe one more little bit forward. And then gently press through to tall, extending that heart chest. And from here,
Levez-vous.
s'il vous plaît.
Standing up. There's no rules except maybe no hands. Lauren's in her bear sit and transitions to that sweet squat. And I'll do a get up of another variation. Challenge yourself with no hands and shake it out while we're up top. We'll come back to those splits, but we also start to work on those kick ups. We'll start with those baby airs. I'll go first. Lauren. I'll go first with Lauren. What's the word I'm looking
Demonstrating?
for? Talking about
talking. Okay, so I'm
describing.
talking.
Describing is the word I was looking for.
It's really tough this hour. All right, with those hands wide open on the floor, our first kick up is our tripod entry, which means tripod, 3 things touching the floor. 1 a hand, 2 a hand, 3 a foot. With that other leg out front, we're gonna kick, pushing the floor away, starting with baby air. Baby air is not leaving the floor too much. Soft landing. Couple things here if you're new to this. The best thing you could do is be soft on your landings. As you progress towards big air, you're going to reach that leg up towards the ceiling. That other leg will stay reaching behind you just so you don't topple over the other way. Noticing the elbows are staying straight, and his best entries here are when Ian's shoulders are stacked over top of the fingertips.
Take your time getting upside down, finding that right weight to get it just right in the center. As Lauren said, the shoulders start over top of those wrists, and that was not a baby air, but that was pretty darn sweet. Celebrate those happy accidents, celebrate beautiful shapes like Lauren just did with her scissors, but start low. And as Lauren said, start soft. Loud is hard on our joints, neighbors get angry too, and it's hard on those body parts. So take your time, stay soft, and breathe. Straight legs is so hard. So let's return to the floor. Maybe just integrate that rule of no hands as we transition to the floor. And then let's go back to those splits.
Do you want to do one more set of kick-ups?
We'll do one more set of kick-ups, says Lauren.
Then we'll do splits, right?
One more set of kick-ups, says Lauren.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Because I like
Same
them.
thing. I'll go, Lauren describes. That's the right word.
Describe. So hands gripping the floor. What I like about the tripod kick up is that you can place your hands exactly as you want to on the floor. So when I do that, I feel the palm on the floor, I feel my callus line on the floor, and then I feel the tips of my fingers on the floor. And I have a little bit of bent fingers when I balance, using the weight, or using my fingers to transfer the weight in my hands in order to find a balance eventually. And this kick up here, soft landing, press away.
Push away that floor. Take a second in between. Upside down is hard on all body parts, including the heart for that head rush. So Lauren's setting up the hands just exactly where she wants. Kick up with control, scissor down. Very beautifully done. Take your time. Build your endurance. Low numbers of reps, high quality of reps will serve you well in your body weight and handstand practice. Very well, nice, very nice. So now let's integrate that rule of no hands as we transition to the floor. Hands across body, sit in a squat like Lauren, or come on back down to our split. Now, let's use those hands in the center as outriggers. Feet, either plantar flexed or dorsa, but not soft in between. For me, I'll take mine into the dorsa. Stiff, both legs. Then drive one heel into the floor, which would flex this knee. Drive down, pull, and then safely straighten out. Repeat on the other side. Pull into the floor, driving down through the heel to flex on the knee, lengthening out this adductor hamstring here. Then extend. That may present that window to wiggle those legs a little bit more open. How are those bum cheeks on the side back? Make sure they're cramping with strength, but not in anger. And one more time. A leg, drive down into the floor to bend that knee. Breathe into that intensity. Safely stiffen. Repeat one last time on the other side. Can you feel that preload? Can you work hard without the knee even bending? And then hang on to that tension and strength as you bend the leg. Sit tall. Maybe wiggle open one more time. Take your breath. Let your body remember that position. And then, no hands. Let's get up again. Pow. There we go. Oh, glam rock kick for the win.
All right.
I'll perform. Lauren describes the kick up.
The kick up. So in this instant here, we're now going to take a step in to enter our handstand. If that seems extreme, remember to start back with that baby air. Little kick up, place down. Points of interest. Soft landing on the hands. Soft landing on the feet, and use those hands to press the floor away. As we work through this kick up, do try to practice on both legs. I should have said that about the tripod as well. Try to practice kicking up with both legs here. One more nice little tip about this kick up is imagine getting up and over something versus attacking the floor at a 45-degree angle. That won't work out very well.
Lauren has that hollow shape, straight elbows, toe points. Find that vertical line and control. Avoid that over kick. Under kicking is okay. Just take time to learn that right weight to get up and hold and return down with control. Beautiful, Lauren. One or two more. Practice integrity, intensity, and give yourself those rest intervals to shake it out and check in. One more.
I had to practice my other leg.
If I might say so.
Sorry, that was loud.
Lauren needs to go one more. One more. If you feel safe, finish on a successful rep, even if it isn't as high as you want, but practice that controlled dismount to reinforce to our body that it's safe and strong.
Got a little excited. Have a good
Let's do that one last time for our kick-ups again here.
Remember to always tuck your shirt in. Kick-ups. So pressing the floor away, entering. When you start your handstand in this position, I like to have my ears covered so my shoulders in the elevated position. And like we talked about, those fingertips on the floor in our tripod kick up, try to land on the floor already in the position that you're going to want to balance in with your hand. So versus slapping your hand on the floor and then trying to adjust, try to absorb the floor and create that nice palm suction.
Absorb. It's that flow. It's the fingertips, calluses, and hands, and the shrugs are already there. Toe points are intact as well. Take your time as you perform your last set of kick-ups here. Rest. Shake between if you need. Just watch Lauren and her nice recovery there and her great dismount. One or two again to finish with strength. And press the floor away. Shake it out. There'll be one more handstand challenge for today. Let's return to the floor though for one more time. Off of those hands and into those splits.
Ooh.
Anyhow, let's get back down.
Do you know what you're going to do? Because I have a good idea.
I'm ready for you to take it away.
Okay.
From the ground though, right?
Yeah, from the ground.
All right.
So come on down. Let's go back to that merperson sit we did earlier, or the hurdle-like position. So let's think about that back leg first. With our upper body square forward, put this back leg as close to 90 degrees knee off the hip as you can. Then from here, let's find our elbow on the outside. Take the front leg and reach it out front. Now, it's probably pointing inseam up towards the ceiling, slightly externally rotated. Could you take that front leg and try to rotate it so the kneecap and the foot are facing up? Maybe you stay on your elbow. Maybe you press away from that elbow towards your tall sit position. I'm going to point that front foot out. I'm also going to just do a little heel toe on that back leg, but try to stay square with my front shoulders. Feeling that back hip nice and extended, that front leg trying to rotate kneecap up towards the ceiling, staying square, pressing and holding and breathing, and maybe a light hinge on that front leg to lengthen out the hamstring, and then back up to tall. A light rotation away from center, and then back towards center, and then squaring back up. One last hinge, trying to think about getting the nose towards the knee, but keeping the spine extended. Press up to tall. Let's bend that knee to return it back in, and then try not to use your hands and rotate to the other side. Excellent. We'll do the same thing. So that back knee is in line with the hip to start. We'll find that outside elbow down on the floor. We'll take the front leg and straighten it out. And again, it's probably externally rotated inseam up. Let's try to rotate it in a little bit so the kneecap faces the ceiling. I'm going to point my foot from here and then press the floor away, coming up into my hurdle position. Heel toe that back leg back. Sorry, I was thinking about doing a hurdle and how. I think it'd be awesome. Sitting up tall, nice and square forward, light hinge towards the front, and then press to tall. And then we added some rotation, rotating that upper body away from center, bringing it back to center, rotating a little bit into center, and then back. One more time, can you retry to straighten that knee and repoint the toe? Add that little bit of the hinge forward. And then gently press out of that. We'll bring the legs back underneath us, and no rules, but no hands, so there's a rule. Stand up.
Stand up. We've made it through the warm-up. We've made it through our strength sets. Now let's work on that endurance as we continue to have fun to finish our practice. It's 1 minute of craziness, whether that is walking around like an elephant, high plank,
Crow.
Even just sitting in your splits or crow.
Lizard.
Maybe even that handstand. We'll put 1 minute on that clock, working for that ultimate challenge today. We're ready to go in about 10 seconds. Take your time, listen to your body, find your ultimate challenge for today. In 3, 2, 1, go for it.
Oh, I always do so good in the kickoffs and then get so nervous in my challenge.
And maybe a little rest in between is all right here today. There you go, Lauren.
Oh, man, we did a lot of kickoffs.
And if you're failing, that's okay to fail. I'm going to go back to the elephant crawl to finish up here. Spend a little bit more time on those hands. But if it isn't working for you today, don't force the issue. Listen to what's going on. Take time off of those hands or just regress that skill to work on something else. In this case, I'm working on my hand flick. Lauren has that gorgeous handstand to finish. And then that's been our full minute. Push the floor away or just celebrate your win and keep going. Practice, integrity, safety, and finish with our stretch.
That was a little bit better. Finish. Yeah.
Good finish, good finish.
Whew, sometimes those kick-ups and those crawls tire you out more than you think.
They do.
Respect that.
Respect everything about your practice, your body, and thank you very much for celebrating in our movements today. Members, stay tuned that link letter for next week. There'll be new classes coming live on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and always check out that archive for more content. Thank you very much for joining us here live at 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings. We look forward to training with you again. So stay strong and let's train soon. My name's Ian.
I'm Lauren.
Have a great day. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Take care.